So today I'm going to share with you 5 of my very favorite street photography tips to help you out with that minimalistic look. Let's get started. Many times in our cities, on the streets, there's a lot going on, a lot of traffic, a lot of people, road signs, all sorts. Way too much for the minimalist street photographer. So what can we do? Well, we need to look for simplicity. And one thing that we can do is look for a simplistic backdrop. So once you've selected your backdrop, you now need to consider how much of this backdrop you want in your frame. And you also need to consider what sort of angle do you want to stand when it comes to this backdrop. So are we facing straight on? Are we taking a step back? Are we close? Are we further away? Are we at a 45-degree angle to the left or the right? Is there an opportunity for us to go higher? Maybe there's a set of stairs or a bridge or some sort of balcony that we can shoot from. Look at the environment, take it all in, and decide on your framing. So once you've decided on your backdrop, you've decided on your framing and that angle, where you're going to be, you now need to start to think about your camera settings. Get your camera settings, take a few shots, zoom into them, review them, make sure they're nice and sharp, make sure you're looking at the histogram, that you're capturing all of the data, especially the highlights. You want to make sure that you're capturing the highlights. Now, if there's somebody moving through the frame, look around at your environment. Maybe there are cars running past, maybe there's a dog, maybe there's some cyclist going past, and these are going to be elements that you want to capture in your frame. You need to make sure your settings are adequate for the subject. So for example, if somebody is walking past your frame and you're going to be capturing a solo person, you could probably get away with 100th of a second, 150th of a second. But if there's a car flying past, 100th of a second, 150th of a second is not going to freeze the motion of the speeding object. You're going to have to go higher and adjust your ISO and your aperture accordingly. So take a few test shots, make sure your settings are correct.
It is shining here, it's coming from over there, as you can see. But I really like the texture that we have. So we're getting highlight, shadow, highlight, shadow, highlight, shadow. So getting a lovely effect. Also, the security camera up there adds to it. So I'm gonna just set up across the road. I'm gonna shoot flat. So I'm just gonna wait for some people to come down. Got my frame, I've got my settings, and I would like people to come from this direction, walking into the light, so we can get the light on their face. So it's all a waiting game now. I'm out hunting, and I'm waiting for prey. And get my test shot in, and I'm gonna check it to make sure my histogram is good. Histogram looks good. Happy with that.
And take your time with this style of photography. This is not run and gun photography, taking as many pictures as you can of as many people and objects as you can. This is fishing, the fishing style of photography. I mean, I don't like that term myself, but that's basically what it is. You're finding your spot, you're looking at all the elements, you're looking at what's going on around you, and you're waiting for the right moment. And when that right moment comes, you will know that you have all your settings ready. So you're ready on that shutter button to capture that moment. So having a good idea of what you're trying to capture before you actually capture that image is a fantastic way of preparing yourself for that moment. And it ensures that you will not miss that image, that moment when it passes you by. I've done the other style of photography where I'm not ready and something magical happens before my eyes, and I just didn't have my settings ready, and I wasn't ready to capture the actual moment. Don't get me wrong, there are times in my photography where I do just pull up my camera and take the photo, but that comes with experience. You know what settings to dial in very, very quickly and how to capture that moment. And sometimes you do just get lucky, but you have to be in the right moment at the right time. You have to have your camera to hand. You have to be able to predict what's about to happen and be ready to take that photo. And all of that comes with an experience. So doing this often, putting in the reps, putting in the hours, the days, the weeks, will ensure that you lock down these skills, and it will higher the rate of likelihood that you'll go out and capture fantastic images. So negative spaces add a fantastic element to our photography. They give that feeling of space, emptiness, wonder, and can even give the feeling of loneliness in our big cities. This is one of the most common ways of producing that minimalist look, that minimalist feel, using negative space. Some minimalist photographers are fantastic at using negative space. Take for example, Schaller, one of my favorite photographers, and Van Ho. They are masters at using light and geometry to create that minimalist style, that minimalist look of photography. They both have this amazing ability of manipulating light and shadow to bring the audience's attention to the frame. And negative spaces, they don't always have to be empty. Negative spaces can also have patterns and leading lines, leading the viewer's eye to the place that the artist wants them to be. Leading lines and geometric shapes are everywhere that we look in our big cities. From staircases to buildings, alleyways, phone boxes, cars, they are all over the place. All you have to do is train your eye to look out for them. And once you do, you will see them everywhere. Leading lines are a fantastic way of directing the viewer's attention to your chosen subject, whatever that might be in your frame. So in this photo here, I'm using leading lines in a subtle way to direct the viewer's attention through the frame and to the subject. In this case, it's a man, a silhouette of a man walking through a tunnel. And this one was taken just by Liverpool Street. I always like having a human, a person in my minimalist photos, and it's usually a single person, a solemn figure in my frame. I just find that when I have multiple people in the frame or too many things in my frame, it distracts from that minimalist look and that minimalist feel that I love to create. It's just far too distracting. Less is more. Go out there and intentionally shoot black and white photography. All cameras these days, they have a black and white profile. You will be able to find it in your manual, or if you know your camera, you can just flick through the back menu, go to the profile settings and select the black and white profile. This will really help you visualize the black and white frame when you're out there taking photos. You can just concentrate on the contrast of light and dark instead of getting overwhelmed by blues and reds and greens and yellows. You're shooting black and white. Use the black and white profile. It only makes sense. You see, black and white photography is very different to color photography. Black and white photography, it requires a totally different skill set. So I challenge you to dedicate 1 month of time just to black and white photography. You will see a huge difference in your photography black and white skill. The photos that you start producing will be far better than a month ago. I challenge you, try it out. Believe me, trust me, it'll really work. Light and shadow play a big impact when it comes to black and white photography. They're the ones that really set the tone and set the mood when it comes to black and white minimalist photography. Strong contrast between light and shadow will add plenty of depth and interest to your black and white photography. So go out there and look for scenes where the interplay of light and shadow create bold, dynamic compositions. The interplay of light and shadow, especially on sunny days, but also on gloomy days, will add so much more interest to an otherwise boring frame. Shooting straight into the light, you can create some beautiful silhouettes, and they will add an air of mystery and wonder to your frame. In our urban environments, there are endless opportunities to create beautiful frames with the interplay of light and shadow, along with framing, leading lines, negative space, and so on. If you're interested in learning more, click on this video right here, which will take you through a mini course on minimalist photography. I hope you like it. It really will help you out. So look at how the light falls between buildings, or through a tree, or maybe bouncing off a window. Look at light, start to study it, and that's what photography is all about. There are endless opportunities no matter what the weather conditions are. So we all can sit down in our homes and procrastinate about going out. Sometimes we feel like it, sometimes we don't. We can watch endless YouTube videos or read endless blogs and look at the latest cameras that have come out, the latest accessories, the latest lens, and think, oh, I need this and I need that, and constantly learn. Really, all you need to do is grab your camera, go out there, put the steps in, put the hours in. That's when you're really going to improve. That's when you're really going to learn about all these different elements of photography and start to develop your own style. So I encourage you, get out of your house, grab your camera, off you go, and take those photos. Put the hours in, put the steps in. You will not regret it, and it's the best way to improve. If you're interested in London workshops, you can check out my website. There's a link in the description below. You can join me on one of my workshops where I'll take you out through the streets of London and show you exactly what I'm looking for. Framing, compositions, settings, leading lines, negative space, the list is endless. You will go home with a fantastic set of photography skills and photos that you can share with your friends and family. And going onwards, you can practice these newfound skills and develop a much wider body of work. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there. Until the next time, get out there and take those photos.